9 mwendo wa saa 3 usiku. Tukiachana hayo ni kwamba kufuatia kupotea kwa umeme nchini na kusita kwa shughuli kadhaa katika uwanja wa ndege wa kimataifa wa Jomo Kenyatta, Waziri wa Kawi Davis Chirchir na afisa mkuu wa kampuni ya umeme wanahojiwa na bunge la kitaifa. Mwanahabari wetu Seth Olale anahudhuria kikao hicho, lakini kwa sasa tusikize yanayojiri.
Generation. And we have loads. If we can lose a load, I mean a generation, whether it was a failure by transmission line, whether it was a fault by the generator, why is it so difficult to have an automatic system to shed off load automatically that is equivalent to the loss? So that at least at that particular point in time, you are not losing power in the entire country, but you load shed automatically, at least to cut off part of the load. Before now, the system sees overload and goes cascading and switching off every other. That is part that Kenya Power, because it has super engineers, they must explain. They must be in a position to explain why a system that is fully with the SCADA, you can communicate with the system, you can access the circuit breakers all over the country. When you have a failure, why is it that you can't cut off part of the load? Number two, when I look at how much thermal was available at that particular point in time, it was 244. I believe we are paying capacity charge for these things we've been told standby generators, which are not 244, they are higher. We've been told they are always idling waiting for situations. Where were they at that particular time, and why is it that we pay capacity charge for these generators? Because we do not have installed capacity of 244, we have more. And it means that if they have been idling as they have claimed to be, then they were on standby. The system should be able to detect that loss, shed off load automatically, then build up from the existing idling generators that are thermal at that particular point to prevent us from cascading into a national blackout. So unless we get clarity on these matters, and then we say probably that our systems need audit, our systems have a problem that you have to physically switch on load, switch off load, you have to manually shed off load, then we are talking about a very, very serious issue, because the last time we had a national blackout, remember, we lost one generator. So that generator became the cause of losing every other single generator in the country, because the remaining generators are seeing bigger load than they can handle. The question is, the way you build up your system, because you took a day, so you started from zero again, building up, why is it that when there is that failure, you can't cut off so that you are not starting from zero? You have an automated system that load sheds to accommodate the losses. And finally, the design of systems require that at any given moment, your surplus, or at least the amount of power that should be on standby, should be equivalent to the largest single installation of the generation. So that, and that idea of that is so that if you lose the largest unit in your generation, your standby power must always be slightly higher than the single largest unit in generation. If you lose it, then you have it on standby. I thought that was the essence of us paying capacity charge for the generators, and they say they don't generate, they are there to give us insurance. So if they cannot give us insurance, when you can imagine when you've been paying insurance, and that particular time when you get an accident with your car, then the guys disappear. You know, it can't work like that. So there is, even as we give you time to identify the actual cause, my take is that there is a serious audit issue on the systems. Number two, there is an element that this regulator should tell us, because you regulate, you are the one in charge there. You tell us what is it that you've been keeping as a security power in case we lose the biggest unit. Have you been having it? If we have the standby generators that we have been paying the capacity charge, have we really been paying 244? No. So where were they at this particular point in time? And I'm sure now with this kind of discussion is going to be a wake-up call, so that the idea here is not to point blame, but to solve the problem permanently, so that the next time we are losing a generator, we do not now lose the entire country. You can imagine there are hospitals that at that particular time, people are using electricity, people in ICU. And then we don't know, even if we could lose a generator also at the airport, ask yourself, how many hospitals have a potential of also having failure with their generators? And there are people who are surviving on electricity. And therefore, we must take this matter of these blackouts extremely serious. So members, I want to give you time to ask questions. Yes, Mulanja.
Thank you, Chair. Related to your question, especially on the circuit connection, Waziri, is it that through KPLC we have incompetent engineers? Because this brings a worry to me. I get worried because if I remember the Entebbe raid, it was about power. Because when you have a national power blackout that is caused by the surge, it's a national security threat. Now, is it that our engineers are not monitoring to do their work to ensure that if there's a problem maybe with the one generator, it should not cause a problem to other areas? Can we separate this our circuit so that we don't have similar problems? Because it is worrying that because we are importing power from Ethiopia, we are importing power from Uganda. Suppose even from the other side, someone mysteriously decides to send excess power to Kenya. Do we again expect to have another power blackout the whole country?
Mawade, then Kingara.
Thank you, Chair. There's been immediately following the power outage, there was a company that started, it's in the public domain. Electrocana came out defending themselves, and KPLC allegedly pointing the fingers at Electrocana as having caused the outage. Can KPLC and Waziri please clarify what is the true standing of that issue of Electrocana? Also, KPLC took us on a tour at the National Control Center, showed us how robust the system is, and they're able to monitor and see when this generator is out, this one is able to kick in. We have been paying people, and we continue to paying people very, very expensively. So, as elaborated yesterday in one of the news stations, step by step, how much we pay. And the amount we pay is not just 244, as indicated, as stated by the chair. We pay too much to the point whereby we should have been, you've always been telling us, the reason why we're paying them, and this is to the EPRA, the reason why we pay them is so that they are available in case these others are not there. And we normally pay them without taking. Now, since they did not avail the power, are we going to surcharge them? Are they going to pay us? There are people who lost lives. My chair means these words. There are people who died because of this incident in ICUs and the ones that were using oxygen that are, that are electrical. There is the medicine in the cold rooms and the fish in the cold room all went out. Who is going to compensate these people that we seem to be somewhat, it appears, casually addressing this issue, and yet we've been told time and again and paid a lot of money, a lot of taxpayers' money, which we believe, and this committee still holds, that it's being paid to them illegally because the contracts that were signed were skewed in the interest of the people who are holding the offices at that time. We need answers to this country. There is no way. Also, why can't we get to be independent? In case we disagree with one of the countries that supplies power with us, and they cut us out. There was a small tough between the son of a senior individual saying we can march into a particular place in the country. I'm mincing my word here because to maintain the diplomacy. But in case we get to that point and we depend on them on power, tell me what will happen? It is a good story that we are working on it. We are working on it. We are working on it, as you said, Waziri, since 2014 on Menengai to today, 9 years later, just to bring an additional generator on board. Let me allow you to answer that so that I'll ask the next question in the next round so that you don't get me mixed up. Thank you.
Yes, and before then, we have a member who's joined us. You can introduce yourself, please.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry for coming late. My name is Honorable Ladwa George, MP Makadara, Nairobi County, member of this committee. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, thank you, Chair, for this opportunity to contribute to this very big concern on our economy and security at large. Mr. Chairman, I want to refer Mr. CS to his document number 5, page 5 rather. If you look at the statement which you have put there, you have portrayed that there were maybe independent power producers who might have caused the outrage. My question may be, since you have just said or talked of a plant which is not in operation fully because of maybe upkeeping, which is this plant? What is its capacity, and what are you taking before they come back to full operation? Then another concern, and it's a concern of everybody, we keep IPPs for such eventualities. And my assumption as a Kenyan citizen is that we pay for capacity charge because somebody is there waiting for an eventuality to take responsibility. My question is, what was the cause of the slow response as much as there is that capacity charge charged to Kenyans? Thank you, Chair.
Barongo.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to know, I saw that there was a gentleman who was dismissed at the Kenya Airports Authority, I think, following the blackout at the airport. Should we expect that some heads will roll, Bwana CS, following this blackout? Thank you.
All right, CS, maybe you can respond to those. And like I guided, on the matter of who is responsible, I don't want us to beat around the bush. It is only fair that if there is a significant team working on telling us, like you said, within 12 days, who is the cause. We can hold a bit so that because we don't want counter accusations, we want the truth, which can be based on the facts.
Chair.
Yes.
I believe we should allow the PS to answer what he is able to answer, even if, because sometimes that finger pointing ends up bringing out the truth. He did not say that he will not be able, he is unable to answer the question on who is responsible. He said he is going to give us a full report on probably how to proceed in the future and to ensure that there is no blackouts again in the future. Let's allow the PS to and his team to answer if they know the question, if they know the answer. Please, sir.
I am only working based on what the CS said. And as you can see right now, we have contractual obligations. And we don't want half-baked truth. I've seen like Turkana, which is one of the main suspects, saying that they were not the ones. Yeah? And that's why, as the chair of the committee, using my wisdom, I'm feeling that it is only fair you give us information that is conclusive. Unless you have that particular information right now. And if you have it, then you can provide us with the information. But what I am guiding is that you cannot tell us it's so and so, then when we move out there, then these people start saying they are not the ones. So that saying is so and so must be accompanied by information that you are telling us you do not have now, which are the logs. However, for the convenience of the members, if you are at some point now that you can comfortably say we can conclude it is this particular person, we'll be very happy if you give us that information now. Waziri, maybe you can start with that one.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, honorable members, for those questions and for the guidance. Chair, like I said, I've got a very competent team of very senior. I came with a whole senior team of engineers who, apart from their credentials, have worked in power systems for the last 20, 25, 30 years, and we should be able to address most of the questions asked. Not just the questions, ensure that Kenya is safe and we are able to provide stable power.
You know, Waziri, the member is asking a direct question, whether as of now, you can conclusively say who was responsible for the blackout. And that's why I started by asking you, have you analyzed the logs? Do you have all the information? So that we can know, if you have the information, you tell us. If you do not have the information, you tell us it takes this amount of time to analyze the logs so that you can give us the truth. Not what you think, but the truth as it is.
Thank you, Chair. We don't have that information to be able to answer that question now. And allow me to qualify, and the engineers will tell us more about that. When a system switches itself off, like from a particular point.
Chair, I think you just killed the questions that we asked. You just killed the questions that we asked as soon as you gave them the statement that if you don't have the logs, then don't answer. Obviously, being a very smart individual, the CS will just pick that and say, no, I don't have logs.
No, I think, Mawade, you are out of order.
Yes. So.
You know, the committee works with trust, and we need to. We cannot take that direction. We cannot have information that we don't have. And like I said, the number of days we are talking about is not forever. This team will appear here with the concrete information. What I'm looking at is us starting to generate an invoice. We cannot generate an invoice out of hearsay. Kenyans want to know who is to be held accountable. The people need compensation. How do we start now pushing somebody to say, it is so and so if they don't know? If if the CS says it needs 10 days to provide that information, I think it is only fair we allow him to come with the information, and we'll be here waiting. We will be here waiting, Bonasias, because we do not want to generate invoices for people we don't know. We already know, and we will still come into that. You already accused Lake Turkana. For this committee, Lake Turkana is not in very good books. Even for the kind of contracts that have been formulated, they are formulated in a way that they are a burden to Kenya. So it will be very interesting music to our ears that the same people that we think are a burden to us are also responsible for causing the blackout. But I want that information when it is refined. I do not, Parliament is a house of records. What we have been hearing is hearsay. Accusations, the ministry accuses this accuses that. And that's why I'm, as an engineer, because I understand systems, that's why I started with the logs. I need to, even those logs, look at them myself and understand this is really the cause and this is a person. Because that person can only be either Kenya Power, that person can be a generator, that person can Ketraco, maybe one of the lines failed. Those are the only people who can be the culprits, and we'll get to that. Mheshimiwa Mawade.
Excuse me, Chair.
Yes.
How long does it require for this information to be available? If we create the impression that they are able to go back and come to us with information, why should they come back with information? I thought that they knew they are appearing here and that this information should be at their fingertips.
Waziri, you had the question.
Chair, thank you again, Chair, honorable members. I did indicate in my opening statement, even before the questions were asked, that we've got about 50 engineers working from SUSO together, from all the different plants. They work in their cohorts as Kengen, Ketraco. They work together to harmonize the data to identify what triggered first, and so on and so forth. And there's a lot of tons and tons of data because we record every event that happens in our system. Chair, if you see item 1 of my statement on the table, item 5 on table 1, we did indicate that in 150 milliseconds, it happened like in that fraction of a second. And whereas we've got fallback systems for the system to react and stabilize, it's almost like the system being removed off the network completely. And therefore, those are the things. That's why even when I talk about 150 milliseconds, the engineers will explain exactly what happened, how did we lose, and the system was not able to support itself, because in that very, very small fraction of a second, things happened and the system went down. And to a very good extent, Chair, the diesel generation, we showed what the supply was, not what the demand was. And to the extent that we were supplying 250 megawatts from diesel generation, later when we restored, we were able to ramp up all that 600 diesel generation because of the plants that we had lost. But we'll be able to explain that in line with the question asked by Mulanya, Mawade, and everybody else. But certainly I can confirm, Chair, that we cannot quite, this is why we did say, give us some days for the engineers to conclusively confirm, was the signal from this plant reporting to that plant that switch yourself off because you are in danger, or did it automatically switch itself because there was an internal fault? And therefore we need to understand and use these data logs to confirm the sequencing of events, and therefore be able to conclusively and professionally give a position that does not pull us down in line with the PPAs that we have committed to, and respecting the investments that are in this country. And conscious equally of the losses that the country really underwent over that, not just a minor incident, but a major incident.
You know, for the comfort of members, you need to be answered to tell us exactly when, because I think we are not reading from the same script. Members want to know exactly when you are going to have those logs ready, like you've read all the logs and zoom into the person in responsible. I think some members missed on that particular point.
Chair, I've just consulted the PS very quickly, and can we come back to the House Bwana Pierce, on the 15th, a Friday like today, a fortnight from today, and we will have conclusively looked at the challenge and, more importantly, the way forward.
Members.
Members are rarely available in Nairobi on Friday. So
Correct.
this was moved on because of an emergency. It says that from Tuesday, not Monday and not Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of that week. Can we come? Can it be the Wednesday of that week? That will issue of
Waziri, you understand, in as much as you have cabinets on, was it Tuesdays, Thursdays? Members also have other cabinets.
Na bila shaka ni mchakato mzima ambao unaendelea tu katika bunge la kitaifa, ambapo wabunge wanazidi kumuuliza maswali mengi ambayo yanaendelea kupata majibu kuambatana na kupotea kwa umeme, akisema kwamba kulimbikiza lawama kwa sasa hakutafaa, kwani anasema uchunguzi wa wahandisi ndio utakaotamatisha jinsi ambavyo mambo yalifanyika, na utajua ni nani haswa wa kulaumiwa katika kupotea huko kwa umeme na kushindwa kufanya kazi kwa zile generator ambazo zilifaa kuwa zenye kuendelea huku umeme ukiwa umepotea. Mpenzi mtazamaji, tutakurejea baada ya muda usiokuwa mrefu, ikiwa ni pamoja na taarifa nyingi tu, ikiwa ni pamoja na Waziri Kindiki akiahidi masuala mazito